Okay, let's take a look at this. Wait, I'm not ready because I lost my marker. Is it time to go home yet? There it is. Okay. Now I think I really am ready. All right. Capital G is green seeds. Lowercase g is yellow seeds. So one of the things I want to point out, although if you've been doing Punnett squares, you understand this already, it's not capital G is green, lowercase y is yellow. We're not using two different letters. If this is the characteristic for seed color, we use a letter for seed color. So if I had G's and Y's, that would represent two different traits. Different letters represent different characteristics or different traits. So if it's the same thing, we're using the same letter. Capital G green, lowercase g is yellow. Cross a heterozygous plant with a homozygous recessive plant. What does heterozygous mean? Different letters. One capital, one lowercase. Cross heterozygous with homozygous recessive. What does homozygous mean? Same. And so since it's homozygous recessive, what two letters am I going to write? Two lowercase. All right. See, I don't even have to do a Punnett square because I know I'm going to have two that are capital G, lowercase g, two that are lowercase, lowercase. Once you get to doing these over and over again, you don't necessarily have to do the Punnett square to do the pedigrees, but if you're not used to them yet, it's good to have that visual. And it also shows me where things go wrong if things go wrong. All right, next, draw a pedigree to show the green seed trait. Green seed trait. Label seed color on each individual. So we're showing green seed trait in this pedigree. So we have to start off with parents. Doesn't matter if it's circle, square, square, circle, you just have to have parents. What does this square represent? Male. And the circle? Female. This is my first generation. How many offspring are we going to have? Is that how many are in real life? Not necessarily, but that's what we have on the Punnett square, so we're going to have 4. How many boys, how many girls? So 2 circles, 2 squares. Doesn't matter how you do it. That's just this is like general. We're generalizing things. But that's our second generation. With me so far? What questions do you have so far? Okay, so now we're going to start shading things in. These are the parents. So it's capital G, lowercase g, lowercase g, lowercase g. Doesn't matter which one that you put it on. So don't worry if you put capital G, lowercase g here, capital G, lowercase g here. Doesn't matter. Shading is going to be what matters for it. So I'm going to put my capital G, lowercase g here, lowercase g here. When I shade it in, that means that that individual is showing the characteristic. When I shade it in halfway, that means that they're a carrier. If I don't shade it in at all, that means that they aren't showing it, don't have the characteristic. So, capital G, lowercase g, if this is a green seed pedigree, do I shade it in all the way, halfway, or not at all? Why not halfway? Because this is a dominant trait. The only time that I shade in halfway is if it's a carrier, and that has to be a recessive trait. That has to be something that's showing up, a recessive disease that's only showing up if you have both those alleles. So this would be shaded in all the way. So it might be your circle, doesn't matter, whichever one you've got, capital G, lowercase g. Lowercase g, lowercase. Shade in all the way, halfway, or not at all. Okay. Any questions about the first generation? You might have the circle shaded in all the way. That's fine, so long as it's capital lowercase. And then the square would be lowercase, lowercase, not shaded in at all. All right, so I've already done the pedigree for this one. So once again, it doesn't matter how we line these up. You just put one of them on each individual from the Punnett square. So I'm going to put capital G, lowercase g here. I'm going to put this lowercase g here. I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to put this one there. Doesn't matter if yours are lined up differently. It's the shading that we're worried about on this one. Okay. Capital G, lowercase g, male or female? Female. Shade in all the way, halfway, or not at all? Why am I shading it in all the way? This person is going to, or this plant is going to have green seeds. And actually, that's what it said, not genotype. It said seed color, so that should be green, yellow. All right, lowercase g, male or female? Shaded in all the way halfway or not at all? This one is yellow. Male or female? Shaded in all the way halfway or not at all? Male or female? Shaded in all the way halfway or not at all? So on yours, doesn't matter the shapes, you should have 2 circles, 2 squares, but it doesn't matter how you've got them arranged. But you should have 2 that are shaded in. The capital lowercase should be shaded in. Lowercase should not be shaded in. What questions do you have about the second generation? Just stare at me down. How do we feel about this first one? Thumbs up, super fabulous, awesome. Thumbs down, where am I? Somewhere in the middle or somewhere in the middle. Does it make sense? Okay. All right. Yes, right. But just, that's why I'm saying, because you're going to pick up from this. I just want to make sure that makes sense. All right, next. Capital G is green seeds. Oh, wait, yes, that's still the same characteristics, sorry. Lowercase g is yellow seeds. This time, it's the parents that are different. So we're going to cross. I don't think I have anything. I figured you'd be down there in the seminar center, so I just, like a superintendent something or other? Okay, yeah. Thanks, you too. All right, cross 2 heterozygous plants. What does heterozygous mean? Different. So now I'm going to cross 2 heterozygous plants. Bloop, bloop, bloop. That's our Punnett square. I know I'm going to have a capital G, capital G, capital G, lowercase g, lowercase g, lowercase g. How'd your Punnett square turn out? This time, the pedigree needs to show the yellow seed trait. Yellow seed trait. So things are going to be a little different. Same thing, 4 offspring. I even know what they're going to be because I have them up here in my Punnett square. I'm just randomly putting them on here. Whenever we get to sex length traits, that's going to make a difference. But right now we're just doing things randomly, so it doesn't make a difference. Oh, parents. All right, my first generation, second generation. First generation, male or female? What color? So, shade in all the way, halfway, or not at all? Why am I shading in halfway now when I didn't before? Only because this pedigree is showing, it wants to show yellow seed trait. So the idea of this pedigree is to see where are those yellow alleles at. So they are a carrier. They're not going to show it. They're going to be green, but they can pass it down to their offspring. So we do want to know where that's at. The only time that you have carriers is when you have a recessive trait for a recessive disease. All right, male or female? What color? Shade in all the way, halfway, or not at all? Once again, we have a lowercase g, we have a yellow allele, so that person is a carrier for it. All right, first individual. What color? Shade in halfway, all the way, halfway, or not at all? This is a yellow seed trait, Punnett square, or pedigree. So for mine, wherever you have your capital G, no matter what the shape is, we're not going to shade it in at all. Capital G, lowercase g, what color? Shaded in all the way, halfway, or none? These guys are carriers as well. They will not show yellow, but the yellow is, they are a carrier for the yellow. The yellow allele is there. Okay. What color? Shaded in all the way, halfway, or not at all? So, think about what's happening in this pedigree. We have grandparents, or we have parents and children in this family. Nobody has yellow. Yellow. Parents aren't yellow. Brothers and sisters aren't yellow. All of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, here's a kid that has yellow. Recessive traits, recessive inheritance, sometimes looks like it appears out of nowhere. It's just like, boom, there it's there. So you have to watch out for that. Another thing that you have to watch out for is sometimes yellow seed trait, that pedigree, they're going to be old school with that pedigree, if you will, that they won't show carriers, because shaded all the way in means you have the trait, not shaded means you don't have the trait. So it is entirely possible that you could see this exact same situation and it would look like this. That's the exact same pedigree as the other one. It's just this one is not showing the carriers. Do you see how I can say that? This makes it even more obvious that that trait popped out of nowhere. And that's one of the things that make me say, this might be a recessive mode of inheritance. When we look back at the first one, when we have a lot of solid colored in and we don't have any halfway shaded, that makes me think, this could be a dominant trait. So if you don't get the information to begin with and they're asking you to find it, that would be where I start. It doesn't guarantee that that's what they are, but that's where I would start. What questions do you have about either one of these? Okay, come on up and get one of each of the little pictures. And PBS course file. And a marker. Sorry. Grab a marker.